The galaxy had never seen anything like it. The Galactic Council, a powerful union of alien civilizations, had decided that humanity was too dangerous to be left unchecked. Earth, a young and untested species, had somehow managed to develop technologies that outstripped many of the galaxy's ancient civilizations. It wasn't just their weapons that worried the Council, it was the sheer audacity of humanity's rise. The Council feared that if humanity was left to grow, they would soon conquer the stars, challenging everything the aliens had built. So they made a decision. Earth had to be destroyed. The fleets of the greatest alien empires assembled, ready to wipe out the human race in a single, swift strike. But Earth had one thing the galaxy didn't expect, a weapon that no one saw coming. It wasn't an armada, nor an alliance of powerful nations. It was one ship, one human warship, Titan, a vessel unlike anything seen before. The Titan wasn't a conventional ship. It was built from Earth's most advanced technology, integrated with alien tech scavenged from the wreckage of battleships humanity had encountered. A warship so powerful that its mere existence defied everything the Council believed about humanity. Captain James Harper stood on the bridge of the Titan, staring out at the endless void of space. His heart raced as he felt the weight of the responsibility on his shoulders. His mission was clear: defend Earth, no matter the cost. Behind him, the crew moved in a synchronized dance of preparation, working with a level of focus that only humans could muster when faced with an impossible situation. Harper's crew was made up of the best of Earth's finest: soldiers, engineers, and scientists, each chosen for their skills and their unshakable belief in the human spirit. They weren't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their home. A transmission came through, a message from the Galactic Council. It was a declaration of war, a simple statement that made Harper's blood boil. Humanity has been deemed a threat to the galaxy. Surrender now, or face total annihilation. The message was cold, emotionless. It was the voice of a galaxy that had already decided humanity's fate. The Council had no idea what they were about to unleash. Harper knew that Titan was humanity's last hope. The Titan was equipped with advanced weaponry capable of taking down entire fleets, but it wasn't just the ship's power that made it dangerous. It was the crew, their unyielding will to fight for their home. He gave the order to prepare for battle, his voice calm but steady. "This is it. We fight for Earth, and we fight together." The crew's response was immediate, and a wave of determination spread across the bridge. They would face whatever came their way. As Titan moved toward the battlefield, Harper couldn't help but feel the weight of what was at stake. Earth had always been a peaceful planet, focusing on exploration and learning. But now, they were forced into a war that could decide the fate of their world. It wasn't a battle they had wanted, but it was one they would fight until the end. The alien fleets were massive, far larger than anything Earth had ever seen. Hundreds of ships surrounded the Titan, their weapons powered and ready to unleash destruction. But the Titan was ready. Harper's fingers tightened on the armrest of his chair as the ship entered enemy territory. The Titan was a force to be reckoned with, but even one ship against an entire fleet was a daunting task. His crew looked to him for guidance, their trust in him unwavering. As the first shots from the enemy ships fired across the vastness of space, Harper knew that the galaxy was about to learn what humanity was capable of. The battle for Earth had begun. The first alien ship exploded in a fiery ball of light, sending shockwaves across the battlefield. The Titan had fired its first shot. It was a sign of what was to come, a message to the galaxy that humanity wouldn't go down without a fight. Harper stared at the destruction, his eyes focused. The enemy was powerful, but they hadn't counted on one thing: the relentless fury of a species fighting for its survival. As more alien ships closed in, Captain Harper made one thing clear: Earth might be small, but it would never go down without showing the galaxy what it meant to face a human. The Titan was not just a ship. It was the embodiment of human spirit, ingenuity, and defiance. And today, the galaxy would learn that when humanity was backed into a corner, It fought back with everything it had. The battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. The alien fleets had underestimated humanity, thinking that one lone warship, Titan, could never stand up to the overwhelming power of their combined forces. But they were wrong. The Titan was a force of nature, built with Earth's most advanced technology, integrated with alien tech that had been scavenged from past conflicts. Captain James Harper and his crew had no intention of backing down. They knew they were fighting for their home, for their families, for Earth itself. The first few minutes were a blur. The Titan maneuvered through the chaos, firing its powerful weapons at the approaching alien ships. Each shot was precise, each hit landing with the force of a thunderclap, sending shockwaves through the enemy ranks. The alien fleets retaliated, launching their own massive weapons toward the Titan. But the human warship wasn't just about firepower. It was about strategy, agility, and ingenuity. The Titan twisted and turned, dodging enemy blasts with expert precision, while its crew worked in perfect harmony to keep the ship operational under intense fire. Captain Harper stood at the center of the chaos, his hand steady on the controls, his mind clear. The situation was dire, but he had trained for this moment his entire life. Every choice mattered now. He issued commands with calm authority, directing his crew to strike at the heart of the alien fleet. The Titan fired again, taking down a massive warship in a single devastating strike. The alien fleet recoiled in shock. They had never expected this kind of resistance. "We've got their attention now," Harper muttered under his breath, his eyes focused on the screen in front of him. The alien ships began to regroup, realizing that humanity wasn't just fighting for survival, it was fighting to win. The Titan had proven that the human spirit could not be crushed so easily. The alien fleets had the numbers, but the Titan had the will to fight. The bridge of the Titan was alive with activity as the crew executed their orders flawlessly. Engineers worked tirelessly to keep the ship's systems intact, while gunners fired with deadly accuracy. The human soldiers on board, despite the constant threat of death, fought with a determination the aliens had never seen before. Every time the Titan took a hit, the crew responded with greater ferocity, never losing their focus. They knew the stakes. They knew that Earth's future rested on their shoulders. As the battle raged on, Harper received a transmission from the alien commander of the fleet. The voice was cold, calculating. "This is your final warning, human. Surrender now, and we may spare your planet. Refuse, and you will all be annihilated." Harper didn't hesitate for a second. "We won't surrender," he said, his voice calm but unwavering. "Not today. Not ever." He ended the transmission and turned to his crew. "Keep firing. We're not backing down." The Titan fired again, cutting through the alien ships like a hot knife through butter. The alien fleet, which had once seemed invincible, was starting to crack. They hadn't accounted for the one thing that made humans dangerous: their refusal to give up, no matter the odds. The battle was far from over, but the Titan was proving that humanity would not fall without a fight. The alien fleet retaliated with everything they had. The sky lit up with explosions as their weapons rained down on the Titan, but the human warship was built to withstand punishment. Each blast left a scar on the ship's hull, but the Titan refused to die. It pressed on, relentless and unyielding. The crew fought with everything they had, using every trick, every tactic, to hold their ground. As the battle wore on, it became clear that the alien fleets had underestimated the Titan, and humanity as a whole. The human warship had crippled their forces, taken down their flagship, and shown them what Earth was capable of. And the aliens knew it. They realized that the galaxy had underestimated humanity's potential for destruction, and they had made a terrible mistake. The Titan fired once more, this time aiming directly at the heart of the enemy fleet. The explosion was cataclysmic, sending shockwaves through space. The alien ships scattered, some retreating, others destroyed in the wake of the Titan's power. The battle was far from over, but the first major victory had been won. Harper knew this was just the beginning. The Titan had proven its strength, but the war was only starting. The galaxy was vast, and the enemies of humanity would not give up easily. But in that moment, Harper allowed himself a brief, quiet moment of pride. Humanity had sent a message. They would not go down without a fight. "We've only just begun," he whispered to himself as the Titan regrouped and prepared for the next battle. The galaxy had just learned one undeniable truth. One human warship was enough to change everything. "You said." The aftermath of the first battle left the alien fleets in disarray, but the war was far from over. The Titan had proven itself a formidable force, but the galaxy's most powerful civilizations had yet to realize the full extent of humanity's resolve. The battle had changed everything, but the price of victory had been high. The Titan was heavily damaged, and its crew was exhausted, but there was no time to rest. The alien forces would not stop until they had wiped out every last human on Earth. Captain Harper stood in the war room, reviewing the battle reports. The damage to the Titan was significant, but it was still operational. His crew had done their best to repair the ship, but they couldn't afford to wait much longer. The alien fleets were regrouping, and they would be coming for Earth with even more force this time. It was only a matter of time before they launched their next assault, and Harper knew they couldn't afford to lose the initiative. "Captain, we've detected a massive fleet moving toward Earth," said Lieutenant Riley, the communications officer. "It's an armada of unprecedented size. They're coming for us, Captain." Harper's expression remained unreadable, but inside, his mind raced. The alien forces were not only seeking revenge, they were intent on making sure humanity never posed a threat again. This next battle would be unlike anything they had faced before. "We need to prepare," Harper said, his voice steady. "Get everyone ready. This time, we'll hit them before they can strike. We have the element of surprise on our side, and we're not going to waste it." The crew sprang into action. Engineers worked furiously to patch up the Titan, while gunners prepared their weapons. Everyone on board knew what was at stake. Earth's survival rested on their shoulders. The Titan was Earth's last line of defense, and they would give everything they had to protect it. As the alien fleet approached, Harper stood at the helm of the Titan, staring out at the vast expanse of space. The enemy ships were massive, larger than anything the humans had ever seen. But the Titan wasn't just a ship. It was humanity's defiance made flesh. The alien fleets were armed to the teeth, but they didn't understand the strength of human determination. They didn't understand what a single human ship could do when backed into a corner. Harper's eyes narrowed. "All hands, prepare for battle," he said. "We're going in." The Titan surged forward, its engines roaring to life as it cut through the blackness of space. The alien fleet was coming closer, but the Titan was faster. It darted in and out of the enemy's line of fire, evading their deadly weapons while returning fire with deadly precision. Each shot from the Titan found its mark, taking down alien warships with shocking efficiency. The crew's training and unity showed in every move, each person on board working together with a singular purpose. The alien forces retaliated, launching waves of missiles and energy blasts at the Titan, but the ship's advanced shields held strong, absorbing the brunt of the attacks. The Titan was taking damage, but it was giving as good as it got. Harper's mind raced as he barked orders, directing the crew with precision. Every shot, every maneuver was calculated to take down as many enemy ships as possible while avoiding catastrophic damage to their own. "We've taken out their forward scouts," Riley reported, "but they're bringing in reinforcements." Harper gritted his teeth. "We need to end this now. Full throttle ahead. We're going for the flagship." The Titan shot forward, its weapons unleashing a barrage of fire at the alien fleet's flagship, a massive vessel that dwarfed even the largest ships in the fleet. It was heavily armored and armed with devastating weapons, but it had one weakness: its engines. If they could disable the flagship's engines, they could cripple the entire fleet. The Titan closed in, weaving through the chaos of the battlefield. Harper could feel the tension building as the flagship came into view. The ship was massive, but it was slow, too slow to keep up with the agile Titan. Harper took a deep breath and issued the order. Target the engines. Full power to the forward cannons. The Titan fired a concentrated burst of energy straight into the flagship's engines. The explosion was deafening, and for a moment, the battlefield fell silent. The alien fleet's flagship was crippled, and its enormous form began to drift helplessly through space. But the alien fleet wasn't defeated yet. They responded with even more ferocity, launching a counterattack that sent waves of fire toward the Titan. The human warship was battered, its shields flickering dangerously, but it held its course. The crew fought with everything they had, their spirits unyielding. They knew that this battle was the turning point for humanity. The battle dragged on, each moment feeling like an eternity. Harper's mind remained focused, even as the Titan took hit after hit. But the crew held strong. The Titan was still standing, still fighting. And slowly, the tide began to turn. The alien fleet's command structure had been thrown into disarray, their flagship destroyed. The remaining ships were easy pickings for the Titan's weapons. After what felt like an eternity, the battle was won. The alien fleet, battered and broken, began to retreat, their morale shattered. The Titan had done it. It had defeated the invincible fleet. Humanity had delivered a blow that would echo throughout the galaxy. As Harper stood on the bridge, staring at the wreckage of the enemy fleet, he knew this wasn't the end. The war was far from over, but humanity had sent a message. Earth would not be destroyed. Not today. Not ever. The galaxy had just learned that when you mess with humanity, you unleash a fury that no one can stop. The victory was hard-earned, and as the Titan drifted in the silent aftermath of battle, the crew couldn't help but feel a sense of accomplishment. They had done the impossible. They had faced an overwhelming alien fleet and emerged victorious. The message had been sent. Humanity was not to be underestimated. But in the back of Captain Harper's mind, he knew this was only a temporary respite. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's power, but the true test was still ahead. On the bridge, Harper stood, looking out into the void. The wreckage of the alien fleet floated like a testament to humanity's determination. It was a moment of triumph, but it was also a moment of uncertainty. The aliens had learned from their mistake, and they would not come back lightly. Harper could already feel the weight of the next battle pressing down on him. "We did it, Captain," Lieutenant Riley said, breaking the silence. "We've shown them what we're capable of." Harper nodded, but his expression was grim. "This isn't over. We've made an enemy of the most powerful fleet in the galaxy. They'll regroup, they'll send reinforcements. And next time, they won't make the same mistakes." Riley hesitated before responding. "But, Captain, we've proven something today. We've shown them that Earth isn't a weak target anymore. We've made our mark." Harper turned to face her. "That's true, but it also means they'll be coming after us with everything they've got. The galaxy is big, and there are plenty of powerful enemies out there who now know the cost of attacking Earth. It's a dangerous game we're playing." His words hung in the air, but before anyone could respond, the alarms blared. The crew rushed to their stations, their faces set with the same determination that had gotten them this far. Something was wrong. An unknown fleet was approaching. It wasn't the same alien force they had just defeated, but it was unmistakably hostile. Harper's instincts kicked into high gear. "Get us out of here," Harper ordered. "Set course for Earth. We need to warn them." The Titan's engines roared to life, and the ship accelerated toward Earth. But it was too late. The new fleet was closing in fast, and they weren't going to let the Titan escape so easily. Harper gritted his teeth. He couldn't afford to run. He couldn't afford to look weak. Not now. "Prepare for battle," he barked. "We don't retreat. Not now. Not ever." The Titan turned on a dime, positioning itself between the incoming fleet and Earth. The enemy ships were unlike anything the crew had ever seen. They were sleek, agile, with weapons that crackled with deadly energy. The alien fleet wasn't here for a negotiation. They were here to finish what the First Force had started. The first shots fired from the enemy fleet were blinding, streaking through the void of space. The Titan evaded the initial wave, but the onslaught was relentless. Harper's hands flew across the controls, steering the Titan through the chaos. Each movement had to be perfect. The crew moved with efficiency, locking onto enemy targets and firing back. Every shot that hit the Titan sent tremors through the ship, but the crew pushed forward, undeterred. "We've got a lock on their command ship," said Lieutenant Riley. "One shot should take it down." Harper's voice was tight with focus. "Make it count. But don't forget, they've got backup. We're not dealing with a small fleet this time." The Titan fired a precise, focused blast at the command ship, and the explosion was deafening. The alien ship shattered in a burst of energy, but the enemy fleet didn't flinch. They were far from done. If anything, the destruction of their flagship seemed to fuel their rage. The Titan was taking damage faster than the crew could repair it, and Harper knew they had to end this quickly. But the enemy was relentless, pressing their attack from every angle. A nearby ship fired a volley of missiles, and one of them hit the Titan's outer hull, breaching it and causing a cascade of alarms to blare. "We've lost power to the starboard side," yelled one of the engineers. "Hull integrity is failing." Harper's heart raced. He couldn't afford to let the Titan fall now. They had come too far, and too many lives depended on them. He looked at the crew, each one working in sync with a determination that matched his own. They were a family now, bound together by a shared purpose: survival. "Hold tight," Harper shouted. "We're not going down today." The Titan maneuvered with brutal precision, dodging fire from the alien ships and striking back when it could. Harper's mind was a blur of calculations, and every decision had the potential to be life or death. Time slowed, and yet it felt as if everything was moving too fast. The enemy fleet was starting to fracture under the Titan's relentless assault, but there was still too much firepower. Harper needed to buy time for the ship to recharge, to repair the damaged systems. "We need a miracle," he muttered under his breath. "Where's our backup?" Suddenly, a new voice came through the comms. It was familiar, a voice he hadn't expected to hear again. "Captain Harper, this is Mercury," the voice said, calm and unwavering. "We've come to help." Harper's breath caught in his throat. The Mercury was one of Earth's newest warships, and it had been on a long-range mission. He hadn't expected to see it again, not so soon. "Get in formation with us," Harper ordered, a new fire burning in his chest. "We're not alone anymore." With the Mercury arriving as backup, the tide of the battle began to shift. The alien fleet had underestimated humanity's resolve once more. The Titan and the Mercury fought together, their combined firepower taking down the remaining ships one by one. The enemy fleet, unable to cope with the new alliance, began to retreat, their strength shattered. But as the Titan surveyed the field, Harper knew that this victory, like the last, had only bought them time. The galaxy was vast, and Earth's enemies were many. But one thing was clear: humanity was no longer just a target. They were a force to be reckoned with, and the universe would soon learn that when Earth was pushed, it fought back with everything it had. The silence that followed the battle felt like an uneasy calm, the stars outside the Titan's windows offering no comfort. Captain Harper stood on the bridge, gazing into the vastness of space, his thoughts racing. They had won again, but at what cost? The damage to the Titan was severe, and the cost in lives, though not as high as it could have been, was still heavy. Yet, despite the aftermath, there was a growing sense of something far more dangerous looming in the distance. The enemy wasn't done. Harper was certain of that. "Captain, we're getting a transmission," Lieutenant Riley reported, her voice cutting through the heavy air. Harper turned, his brow furrowed in concern. "Who's it from?" "It's an encrypted message from the Galactic Council," Riley said, her fingers flying across the console. "It's marked urgent. Harper's mind immediately went to the worst possible scenario. The Galactic Council, the most powerful political body in the galaxy, had been watching Earth's rise with increasing concern. They had to know that humanity had just delivered a blow that would not go unnoticed. He wondered what their response would be. "Open the transmission," Harper ordered. The screen flickered to life, and a figure appeared. An alien with a narrow face, sharp features, and cold, calculating eyes. His uniform was adorned with the insignia of the Galactic Council. His voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable edge to it. "Captain Harper of Earth, this is Counselor Volek of the Galactic Council," the alien began. "We are aware of the recent events that have transpired in your sector. We would like to propose a ceasefire and open negotiations. The actions of your people have proven challenging, but we believe there is still room for diplomacy." Harper's jaw tightened. Diplomacy. After everything they had done, after Earth's enemies had thrown everything at them, tried to crush them, now they wanted to talk. The audacity was infuriating. "Why should we negotiate with you?" Harper's voice was a low growl. "You've attacked us, tried to destroy our people, and now you want peace." Counselor Volek's expression didn't change. "It is not our wish to see your species destroyed, Captain. The galaxy is vast, and you are but one planet among many. But you have proven troublesome. We would rather avoid further conflict. The galaxy is a delicate balance, and your warship's ability to challenge entire fleets threatens that balance." Harper's hand clenched into a fist. He could feel the tension building inside him, but he forced himself to remain calm. "If you wanted peace, you wouldn't have attacked us in the first place. What's your real agenda?" Volek's gaze sharpened. "The Council wishes to avoid further escalation, Captain. The offer is simple. Stand down, accept our terms, and we will allow Earth to remain part of the galactic order. Refuse, and the consequences will be dire." The threat was clear. The alien's words were carefully chosen, designed to sound diplomatic, but the underlying menace was undeniable. The galaxy's elite weren't accustomed to being challenged. To them, Earth was just another planet to subjugate, another pawn in their endless power struggle. But Earth wasn't a pawn anymore. Not after what they had just done. "I'll never surrender to you," Harper said, his voice cold with resolve. "We're not your slaves, Volek. You'll learn that the hard way." The screen flickered, and the image of Volek's face disappeared. The transmission cut off, leaving only the eerie quiet of the bridge behind. Harper exhaled slowly, his chest tight. He knew that rejecting the Council's offer would only make things worse. It was a declaration of war. The stakes were higher than ever. "Captain," Riley said, her voice quiet but urgent. "What do we do now?" Harper turned to her, his expression resolute. "We prepare for the next fight. We can't afford to stand down. Not now, not ever. Earth has shown its power, and the galaxy needs to understand that we will defend our home with everything we have." "We're not alone," Lieutenant Riley said, her eyes meeting his. "We've already proven that. There are allies out there who will stand with us." Harper nodded. "We'll need them. But this time, we won't just be defending Earth. We're going to make sure that the Galactic Council understands that we're not to be trifled with." He turned back to the view of space, the stars now seeming colder, more distant. He could feel the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The Titan was Earth's first true warship, and with it came a responsibility, a duty to show the galaxy what humanity was capable of. The fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. "Ready the fleet," Harper ordered. "We're going to send a message to the Council that they'll never forget. This galaxy belongs to Earth now, and anyone who stands in our way will learn why humanity is not to be underestimated." As the crew of the Titan went to work, Harper felt the familiar surge of adrenaline coursing through his veins. The warship was a symbol of Earth's newfound strength, and he was ready to use it to send a message that would shake the galaxy to its core. The battle for Earth had only just begun, and humanity was prepared to fight for its place among the stars. The Council's offer of peace had been rejected. Now, the real war would begin. And this time, humanity would not back down. The Titan lurched as another wave of enemy ships appeared on the horizon, their sleek forms cutting through the dark expanse of space. The Galactic Council's forces had arrived in full force, a fleet far larger than the one they had faced before. Harper watched from the bridge, his heart pounding in his chest. He had expected reinforcements, but nothing like this. They had made it clear Earth was a threat, and they were ready to do whatever it took to stop it. "Captain, they're powering up their weapons," Riley reported, her voice tense. "They're preparing to fire. Bring us to evasive maneuvers, now," Harper shouted, his eyes never leaving the enemy fleet. The Titan was outnumbered, but it wasn't just about the ship. It was about the people they were fighting for. Earth, humanity's home. The Titan danced between incoming blasts, evading the enemy fire with remarkable precision. Harper's hands flew over the controls, his mind sharp despite the chaos around him. He could hear the crew working seamlessly, each person performing their role as though they had practiced it 1,000 times. They weren't just fighting for survival now. They were fighting to prove that humanity would not be cowed by any force in the galaxy. "Target their flagship," Harper ordered. "Take out their command ship, and the rest will fall apart." The Titan's weapon systems came to life, firing with deadly accuracy. But the enemy wasn't just sitting back. They were adapting. They were learning from the Titan's previous attacks, countering with precision that made Harper's blood run cold. Every shot they'd fired seemed to be aimed at taking down Earth's warship. The stakes had never been higher, and the odds were more stacked against them than ever before. "We can't keep this up forever, Captain," Riley said, her voice strained. "We need more firepower." Harper glanced at her, his face grim. He knew she was right. They were pushing the Titan to its limits, but they couldn't hold out much longer against such a massive fleet. "We've got no choice but to keep pushing forward. Prepare for a full-scale assault on their flagship. We have to end this now." As the Titan raced toward the enemy flagship, Harper's thoughts were on the crew. He had grown close to every one of them. They were more than just soldiers. They were his family. They had fought together through thick and thin, and they weren't going to give up now. But there was a cold, hard reality they couldn't ignore. They might not survive this. The Titan was barely holding together. Fires raged on the lower decks, and the hull groaned with every blast. The crew's faces were etched with exhaustion, but there was no fear, just determination. Humanity had always been the underdog, but no one had ever truly realized how much that could work to their advantage. It wasn't just about strength. It was about resilience, and humanity was resilient beyond measure. "Captain." Lieutenant Riley's voice was sharp as she tracked the enemy's movements. "They're about to launch a full assault on Earth. If we don't stop them, they'll—" "We know," Harper interrupted, his voice low but firm. "Get ready, everyone. We're not just fighting for survival anymore. This is for the future of humanity." With a final, fierce push, the Titan closed the distance to the enemy flagship. It loomed before them, a massive behemoth bristling with weapons. Harper took a deep breath and gave the order. "Full power to the forward cannons. Aim for their main reactor." The Titan fired a concentrated beam of energy, a direct hit to the enemy flagship's reactor core. The explosion was deafening. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. The flagship trembled, smoke and debris pouring from its shattered hull. It was far from finished, but it was crippled. "Direct hit, Captain," Riley shouted. "They're losing power." Harper didn't let up. "Target their secondary systems. Keep the pressure on." The Titan unleashed wave after wave of fire, striking their targets with deadly accuracy. The enemy fleet was beginning to lose cohesion. The once overwhelming force was faltering, their ships breaking formation as they struggled to regroup. The Titan had made its mark, but they weren't done yet. As the enemy flagship staggered, Harper could see the rest of the enemy fleet hesitating. They had lost their command center. their coordination. It was clear now. They were no longer the unbeatable force they had once seemed to be. "We've got them on the ropes, Captain," Riley said. "We just need one more push." Harper nodded. "Let's finish this." The final assault was swift and brutal. The Titan's cannons flared to life one last time, firing at the remaining vessels with precision. Within minutes, the once mighty fleet was shattered, scattered across the dark void. The Titan had done what seemed impossible. It had not only withstood the greatest challenge Earth had ever faced, but it had struck back harder than anyone could have imagined. In the aftermath, the Titan floated in the quiet of space, its hull battered but its crew victorious. The galaxy had witnessed humanity's power, and it would never forget it. Harper stood on the bridge, his eyes fixed on the stars. The war was far from over. The Galactic Council would regroup, and more battles would come. But for now, Earth had sent a message to the galaxy. We are not just survivors. We are warriors. And no matter how many fleets you send, we will always fight back. "Get us back to Earth," Harper ordered, his voice steady. "We've earned our rest, but the fight isn't over. And when the next battle comes, we'll be ready." The Titan drifted through space, battered and scarred from the brutal conflict that had unfolded over the past days. The once pristine surface of the warship now bore the marks of countless battles, charred hulls, scorched panels, and the remnants of enemy fire that had nearly taken them down. Yet it was still alive. Humanity had survived, and for now, that was enough. Captain Harper stood alone on the bridge, his gaze fixed on the infinite void of space. The battle had been won, but at a cost. He had seen the faces of the fallen, the brave men and women who had fought beside him. Their sacrifices would not be forgotten, but the fight was far from over. The Galactic Council had been dealt a blow, but it would not simply roll over. They would regroup. They would retaliate. But humanity had shown them something crucial. Earth wasn't just a small, insignificant planet anymore. "Captain, we've received a message." Riley's voice broke through Harper's thoughts. "It's from the Council." Harper exhaled slowly, his eyes narrowing. It was no surprise. He had been expecting a response, but he wasn't sure what form it would take. Another diplomatic plea. A threat? Whatever it was, it wouldn't change what Earth had shown them. The galaxy was not prepared for humanity's fury. "Open it," Harper ordered, his voice cold. The screen flickered to life, and once again the cold, calculating face of Counselor Volek appeared. His expression was hard, his eyes glinting with something darker than before. "Captain Harper," Volek began, his voice laced with barely concealed anger. "You have made your point, but understand this. Earth's defiance will not go unanswered. The Galactic Council has determined that your actions are an act of war, and there will be consequences. This will not be the end. We will ensure that your planet is brought to heel." Harper didn't flinch. He had expected this. The Council would not simply admit defeat. Their pride was too great for that. They would come again, with even more power, more ships, and more resources. But it didn't matter. Earth had shown them its strength, and the Titan had become a symbol of that strength. They could threaten all they wanted, but humanity was not afraid. "You can try," Harper said, his voice steady. "But Earth will not bend. We will fight for our future, and we will fight for our freedom." Volek's face tightened. "You are a fool, Captain. You may have won this battle, but the war is far from over. We will ensure that your world pays the price for this insolence." The transmission cut off, leaving Harper standing in the quiet of the bridge. His mind raced, but there was no fear in him. Earth had survived against impossible odds, and they would do it again. The Council's threats were nothing more than empty words. They could attack, they could send fleets, but humanity had proven that it was capable of fighting back, and they would continue to do so. "Captain," Riley said, her voice breaking through the tension in the room. "What now?" Harper turned to her, a small smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "Now we prepare. The battle may not be over, But we're not backing down. Humanity's place in the galaxy is secure, and we've made it clear that we won't be intimidated. We'll take the fight to them, if we have to. He turned back to the view of space, watching as the stars seemed to shimmer with a new light. For the first time in a long while, Harper felt something that had been missing for far too long: hope. They had fought for Earth, and they had won. They had faced the greatest challenge the galaxy had ever thrown at them, and they had come out victorious. But more importantly, they had sent a message to the galaxy. Earth would not be conquered. Humanity would not be cowed. It was a message that would echo across the stars for generations to come. "Get us back to Earth," Harper ordered, his voice firm. "We've earned our victory, but we know this war is far from over. The Council will come again, and when they do, we'll be ready." The Titan turned, its engines firing up as it began its long journey back to Earth. The road ahead would be difficult, but Harper knew one thing for sure: humanity would rise to meet any challenge that came its way. They had the strength, the courage, and the resolve to face whatever the galaxy had in store. And nothing, not even the might of the Galactic Council, would ever take that away. As the Titan sailed through the stars, the crew remained silent, each lost in their own thoughts. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious. The galaxy had learned a lesson that day. Humanity was not a species to be underestimated. And as long as there were humans like Captain Harper at the helm, Earth would always fight for its place in the stars.